half in the bag. I once tried to push an elderly woman down the stairs. Well, Jay, looks like it's another day for you and me in paradise. Why are you holding a clipboard? My vision's been getting a little fuzzier since I've been drinking more each day. Did you change your hairstyle?
Hey Mike, sorry I'm late.
What?
I tried to go to Dunkin' Donuts, but they changed their name to just Dunkin', so there was a line out the door of people wearing swimsuits and sex perverts. I had to go to Larry's locally sourced hipster donuts instead.
Oh, is that the place where they use reclaimed sawdust instead of flour?
Yeah.
Great. I love their donuts. They keep me regular.
Hey, who the f*** is this?
I don't know. I thought it was you.
Get the f*** out of my chair.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, this is madness.
Well, it's about time you guys notice me. I'm Tim McGarble from Lightning Fast Corporate.
Tim? But our last boss was named Tim. He flew through the roof of our VCR repair shop and then ripped off our idea for a movie review show.
Well, I'm a different Tim.
Are you telling me there's more than one Tim?
Well, if you're from Lightning Fast Corporate, you must be here to help us fix this VCR. Let me give you the only tool you're gonna need. It's beer.
No, I'm actually here to do a performance review of our 3 last remaining VCR repair shops. There's the one here in Milwaukee, another one in New York, and another one in London.
Wow, I didn't realize we had repair shops in such major cities.
Well, those other 2 are actually just cities in West Virginia. But nevertheless, I'm here to observe your performance and see how well you utilize your time. So just do what you normally do and pretend I'm not here. Let's see. Now, this client, Mr. Plinkett, you've been repairing his VCR for how many weeks now?
Weeks? Well, actually, it's been about 7 years.
Roughly 153 to 154 episodes.
Uh-huh.
Jay, I don't know if I could work with this guy staring at us.
By work, you mean drink, sleep, and talk about movies?
Yes, exactly.
Well, we're gonna have to at least look like we're fixing the VCR, at least until he leaves.
Yeah. Sir, sometimes when Jay and I work on a VCR, we like to talk about a new movie. You know, it helps us relax and kind of focus on the job. That's not a problem, is it?
Just do what you normally do and pretend I'm not here.
Oh, thank God!
Well, time to get started. As you can see, this VCR needs a lot of work.
Whoa. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, Jay, have you seen the new Halloween film?
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
Halloween is the sequel to Halloween, but not the sequel to Halloween. Technically, it's Halloween 2, but ignores the events of Halloween 2 and Halloween 2. It's the first Halloween film to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, except for Halloween 2, Halloween 7, and Halloween 8. But finally, the series has brought back John Carpenter in some capacity for the first time, except for Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. It's also the first Halloween film to ignore the previous films in the franchise's timeline, except for Halloween 3, Halloween 4, which ignores Halloween 3, Halloween 7, which ignores Halloween 3, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Halloween 6. But aside from all that, it's a totally fresh and new start for the Halloween franchise.
Only you could have written that.
Yeah. Mike, what did you think of Halloween?
Well, I thought Halloween was a very well-made crowd pleaser. In a unique experience, we saw a fully crowded theater, which usually we don't. Usually there's 4 or 5 people that usually smell, that are eating food.
That and or elderly.
Elderly.
Yeah.
Elderly plague this planet.
It's
or large members of our society eating popcorn and farting in their sweatpants.
I didn't hear any of that in this movie.
No, it was a crowded theater, so it was a great experience to watch a spooky movie at night in a crowded theater, a mostly respectful theater.
Yeah.
A good theater going experience. So when I say a crowd pleaser movie, everyone seemed to be having a good time watching this. I thought it was spotty. I thought it was effective in certain areas.
Yeah, effective is the best word for it because there's large swaths of the movie that really worked for me. I think it starts strong and it ends strong, and there's some kind of wonky narrative stuff, like kind of halfway through. There's a plot twist that is kind of terrible and exists only to get a character from one place to another so the ending of the movie can happen. And that's like the worst part about the movie. But what it does that I think almost none of the other Halloween sequels did is that Michael Myers feels like menacing and scary again because he's completely unpredictable and he has no motive. They've eliminated Halloween 2. He's not related to Laurie Strode. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a kill early on where you're like, oh, okay. He's intense again and he has no kind of focus as far as what he's trying to do. He just keeps moving and killing, which I really liked.
Well, should we say spoilers?
Yeah, I guess our initial thoughts are it's pretty good, especially with a crowd.
I mean, this isn't like, The Usual Suspects. I mean,
it's another Halloween sequel.
Yeah.
It's one of the best Halloween sequels, but that's like the faintest praise possible because the Halloween franchise is lame.
I think, yes, exactly. I sit there and I look at a movie like this, sadly not from my own enjoyment perspective, but from did they do everything correctly like they should? The Rob Zombie ones, blah.
It's the best review of the Rob Zombie ones.
Bitch, I will crawl over there.
So yeah, you have a 40-year-old franchise that's basically successful from the first film, except for the fourth film, which was the first soft reboot of one of my favorite ones is Halloween 4.
Halloween 4 is okay, but yeah, is that the first soft reboot in movie history?
It might be,
because it's basically a remake of the first movie, but it's not technically a remake.
What is that? It's a dog. It's still warm. He got hungry.
One of the interesting ideas in the movie, which wasn't totally developed or sort of like kind of just teased, was how a person copes with a tragedy.
Yeah.
And how, like the doctor was talking about it, you either go crazy and become super reclusive, or you become like violent, or the brain can go in all different ways. And it was like the good side and the bad side. Laurie Strode and how does Michael? What motivates Michael Myers?
Yeah.
That was a kernel of the movie, and I liked that. But the kid said something like, "Oh, what happened 40 years ago? Some guy stabbed 5 people."
Yeah.
He's like, in this day and age, and they're obviously alluding to like mass shootings that happen at high schools.
Yeah, they don't get too crass about it, but clearly that's the point.
Yes,
yeah,
and
there's a lot of fucking horrible things that happen every week now.
Yes, and so the 5 people getting stabbed in 1978, it seems like a fluffy kitten.
Yes.
So I'm glad they addressed that, and then so the filmmakers took this and said, what do we do? How do we translate Michael Myers 40 years into the future? Well, he butchers more people.
They keep it very simple.
We keep it a little more simpler.
It's following that trend of like The Force Awakens and like Jurassic World, and which I was worried about when I saw the first trailers. I was like, oh, they're just going to Force Awakens it, and now Laurie Strode is the new Dr. Loomis. But they kind of don't. They do more interesting things with her character. And the third act is almost like an inverse of everything from the first movie. It's taking Halloween kind of started the whole kind of final girl trope that every slasher movie in the 80s ripped off, and this is sort of turning on its head, where at the end of the movie, she's stalking Michael, which is kind of neat. Well, yeah. It worked, like the original movie, like that movie works as its own movie without sequels. Now you do this, it works as an idea of like, oh, the final girl is now the one doing the stalking. Right. That works as an idea. We don't need any sequels to this, even though there'll probably be more, but it works as a nice kind of bookend to
it does.
Yeah, we're done now. We didn't even need this movie, but we have it and it's pretty good, and now we need to be done.
It's a nice closure. It really is. And I know what you mean, like they show the closet, and Laurie Strode's busted into the closet. They should have had her breaking into it. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But the idea is the same: is that she thinks Michael's hiding in the closet and she's coming after him.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple other little moments that I thought were cute. The girl sitting in the classroom in the far corner seat, and then
She
shot.
looks out and it's Laurie
And
Strode.
obviously the inverse when Laurie is thrown off the balcony. And then she's gone, yeah.
A lot of it's subtle enough where if you haven't seen the first movie, it's not going to be like, oh, is this a reference? Like, it's not distracting.
It's not the last 35 minutes of Rob Zombie's Halloween where it's recreated shot
the
for shot.
exact same movie, but the movie's halfway over, so we had to do it in twice the time. But yeah, the nod to the first movie with her in the classroom. She looks out, she sees Laurie Strode. It works as a nod to the first one, but it also works thematically with what they're doing with the flip. So a little more to it there.
He's writing down something.
Oh. Do you think he hears us talking about Halloween instead of working on the VCR?
Well, I told him we like to talk about movies while we work on the...
But I mean, he can physically see us.
I know. He's looking right now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do you got that R5 somewhere?
the R5 indicator?
Yeah.
It's right here. It's blinked out. Yeah. We'll get those on order soon. But in the meantime, we can repair the is that the tape head? This thing that spins?
I don't know. What's a tape head?
There's magnetic particles on the tape.
Oh my God.
You're gonna embarrass me. Let's talk about the original Halloween and all the gut-bursting, hilarious character moments that it had, which added to the tone of dread and terror.
Are you saying that in comparison to this movie, which had some inappropriate comedy? There's the one kid, the girl's babysitting the little black kid.
The breakout star of the film.
That kid is hilarious.
He was great.
There's a couple, like once Michael Myers shows up, like that kid should not be saying things that the audience is laughing at, but they do, or he's like, fuck this, or something.
Yeah.
It's like, you blew it. You blew that moment.
You took it too far.
But they don't do
Dave,
too much.
you go up there, and Dave, you go up there, or whatever his name was.
I think that was maybe almost like, because I know David Gordon Green does a lot of like improv in his movies. I think they probably like realized that kid was funny on set, or like kept pushing it.
Yeah.
They pushed it a little too far, even though he is really funny.
And I don't quite know how to feel about that. And that's when I say I have to use the two different sides of my brain. The one side is watching the audience around me kind of laugh and have fun.
Yeah.
Throw in a little comedy. You have some gore. You make Michael Myers scary. You don't do anything too stupid. It's like you play it right down the line, and you get out with your pants intact. And your ass not on fire. Blumhouse knows what they're doing. But the one scene that really irked me, we cut to two cops sitting in their squad car, two cops we haven't seen yet. They're just waiting they're patrolling the
They're
perimeter.
outside Laurie Strode's house.
And they have some kind of inane dialogue about
They're talking about a type of sandwich.
and you eat peanut butter and jelly, and no, my lunch is a brownie. A little 5-year-old would have a brownie and I was like, why is this in the movie? Just have them sit there and go.
Well, what I think they're doing, and they do it with a lot of the characters in the movie, is that like even the minor characters, they give them a couple little moments of either levity or something to kind of flesh them out just enough so that like when they die, it has a little bit of an impact, even though it's a minor character.
But don't have them say stupid things.
That part didn't work. There's a part earlier in the movie when Michael Myers is being transported, oddly enough, on Halloween night to a new facility. Isn't that what happened at the beginning of 4?
It was the night before.
Well, the night before, technically, but yeah.
The day before, whatever.
Right. But the bus crashes, and then there's like a dad and his little kid. They're driving on the road at night, and the little kid's got like this weird raspy voice. It's like a bizarre little character thing. But he's talking about
wants to be a dancer.
He wants to be a dancer, and his dad's like, I thought you liked hunting with me. And he's like, I do like hunting, but right now I want to focus on my dancing. It's a very like weird David Gordon Green kind of minor comedy moment.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, I figured like the kid, and it kind of happened, the kid would like use his dancing skills to defeat Michael Myers. like he would do a pirouette and
Oh
kick
my
him in the
God,
face.
that's a completely
I'm
different
like,
movie.
Why? I don't agree with this at all, Jay.
I'm not saying it works. I'm saying that's what he's going for. That moment worked for me a little bit. The two cops.
The Brewers were going for the World Series, but how did that work out? Okay, I don't care what he's going for. I mean, like, are we going to watch a movie about this little kid and his dad?
Well, no, but that's the thing is like
it's a hunting episode from The Simpsons.
you get like you understand the relationship between that father and kid, and then this is what I was alluding to earlier before we got into spoilers. Michael Myers snaps that little kid's neck. That's like, oh, he's killing kids now, and that's when I realized that the movie was going to be a little more kind of brutal and straightforward than some of the sequels.
That's fine. He didn't stab that baby though.
They knew how far to push it.
They know how far to push it.
A little kid that's like 12.
You kill a gay 12-year-old, but you can't kill a baby,
Yeah,
Jay.
I understand.
No, I didn't get that. Two cops in the car talking about their stupid sandwich.
Yeah.
How about two cops in the car and the older cop says, you know, my daughter was friends with the blonde-haired girl who got stabbed, you know. She was just over at our house last week. It's a shame what's going on in this town. Oh yeah, well, me and my wife are thinking of having kids.
Yeah.
You better move out of Haddonfield, son. Michael Myers is back. That's something.
Sure.
Just, okay, we get a little information, but not like, I like sandwiches that are Vietnamese sandwiches, but I put peanut butter and jelly on them.
Hey, I'm not defending that little bit of comedy. I'm just saying I think that's what he was trying to do.
I get it. You give it care, but it weirdens the tone.
Even the humor in this didn't work except for that little black kid. But I think a lot of the suspense sequences worked really well.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just saying, like, it's like you're sitting in a nice, warm jacuzzi, and someone just comes in and just dumps ice water on your head for a moment,
Yeah.
then goes away, and then the jacuzzi gets warm again. Then they come back and dump ice water on your head.
there's not enough of it in this to ruin the movie.
There's not enough to
but-
ruin the movie, but there's those two bits that I think three bits that I think could have been handled differently. Really, and that's my only real problem with the movie. I thought everything else was fine. I thought the little teen dance party was a little annoying.
That was fine. It was nice to see an actual like Halloween dance, like a high school dance in one of these movies.
Yeah. Well,
They're always about teen characters, and they're never doing anything Halloween-y.
Michael Myers shows up and starts stabbing everybody. That would have been kind of fun. But the asshole boyfriend never got his comeuppance.
No.
Like he kissed another girl and he threw her phone in Jell-O. What about that cheating guy?
Well, it's random. The Michael Myers killing is completely
It's true.
random.
That's true, and it did add a lot of those sequences. I did not know what was going to happen. Like Michael Myers, like he starts off and he grabs a hammer from just some random house and just butchers some lady in her kitchen.
Yeah.
And trying to find his butcher knife.
Yeah.
And he finds his butcher knife, and then he just goes to the next house. Oh, there's a babysitter.
all
in
in
there.
one shot too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
There's a babysitter in this house. I'm gonna kill her. It's just he's not going after Laurie. He's not like looking in a phone book like he did in Halloween 4.
Does he look in a phone book? I don't remember
I
that.
believe so.
Okay.
I believe after he steals the gas station attendant's uniform, he goes and looks in a phone book.
Well, that's the
I
lamest thing.
could be thinking of Back to the Future when Marty hunts down Doc.
They're very similar movies, but the fact that the movie keeps with... Oh. He's looking again, isn't he? Is it weird that we're just staring at him?
He's just staring at us. What are you looking at, you prick?
I fixed it.
Ready to receive a tape?
Yeah.
Ready to receive a tape to play your favorite recorded television programs?
You know, I think all we got to do is put the lid back on this and we're done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you broke it.
Sometimes we break a tool, and then we got to order a replacement, which could take 6 to 8 weeks.
Not our fault.
Not our fault. It's just a hazard of the job.
Yep. Speaking of Michael Myers' killing being random, as it was in the first movie, there's absolutely no reason for him to lock on to Laurie Strode and her friends. It's just what happens because it's random and he's evil. This movie does that, which creates a bit of a problem in that Laurie Strode is like obsessed with he's come back for me, and he didn't, and he's not after her. And you could develop that into something interesting because Laurie has kind of lost her mind. The idea that like she's been obsessed with this for the last 40 years and she means nothing to him. They really could have developed that further, but as it is, it's just sort of glossed over in what I said is a dumb plot twist, which is what Laurie calls the new Loomis, is just this doctor guy that's obsessed with wanting to understand why Michael does what he does, which I like that. There's the podcasters at the beginning that are kind of the same. Yes. Everyone's trying to figure him out, and there's nothing to figure out. He's just a blank slate. So we have this plot twist where the doctor kills a cop. He kills the sheriff.
He stabs him in the neck.
Stabs him in the neck because he wants to understand what it's like to be Michael Myers.
Well, no. If he wanted to understand what it was like to murder, he would have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
He stabs the cop out of necessity and then goes, "Whoa, that's kind of what it's like."
Yeah. Well, he puts on the mask for a moment, and then he puts Michael in the backseat of the car, and he says, like, now we have to have you confront Laurie Strode. And so they drive to the Strode house. And then he gets killed immediately, and that plot twist only existed to get to the end of the climax of the movie, because otherwise there's no reason for Michael to go after Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a problem. It's a little clunky.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that kind of respects the idea that Michael Myers is just a mindless killing machine.
No, I love that.
He's pure evil.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that misses plot, because Michael Myers is just sort of like, he's moved on the bus. Apparently he breaks loose and kills everybody to get off of the bus.
Yeah.
But then...
I was wondering if the doctor was supposed to be partially responsible for that,
he is
too.
hiding on the bus.
Yeah, like he wanted Michael to get out.
Yeah, possibly,
because he's doing this weird study because he's lost his mind, too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Michael then steals the guy, the hunter's car, and ends up in Haddonfield, I guess, where he could drive anywhere he wants. But then he stumbles around Haddonfield, and then, by processes that are not his own, ends up at the Laurie Strode house, when really, like, theoretically, he could just walk away and leave. I guess if he sees a person, he just wants to kill that person.
Yes. Well, that's all he's doing. He's going from house to house. When they run into him before the twist happens, he's just walking around.
I mean, he crosses the line at children that bump into him in the street, but doesn't cross the line at a different child.
Oh, what the? Hey, sorry about
Mindless killing machine. Yeah. He has some motivation enough to go get a hammer and replace it with a knife.
Yeah.
Does he just like killing people that are alone?
Well, I don't think it's even that he likes killing. He just kills. That's the whole idea. And that's why the first movie works as just a movie, because it's like, oh, that's scary. Like, just this stuff's happening completely at random. Which is why all the sequels are so lame.
Well, yeah, it's like we said a million times, it's a one and done thing. It's a simple concept. It's the boogeyman.
Right.
The boogeyman is real. You don't need explanations. It works in that context. In this, sure, the boogeyman is still real, but we now have an attached history, and a mental hospital, and a doctor, and podcasters, and a crazy lady in a bomb shelter. And it's like, if Michael's sole goal was, I got to get Laurie Strode because she's the one person I did not kill that night.
Yeah.
That is my sole motivation. I would have been, okay, fine. That's fine.
I think they probably avoided that because that's basically what the sequel become, the original Halloween 2, which is like, oh, that's Michael Myers' sister. John Carpenter pulled that out of his ass out of desperation. Yeah. But, I mean, at least that does introduce something to kind of develop, because then, like, in the fourth movie, it's Laurie Strode's daughter, and they kind of keep developing that. Jamie Lloyd, yeah. But, yeah, it's like they came up with the idea for the third act for this movie of, like, oh, Laurie Strode, she'll be stalking Michael, and she'll have all these booby traps and, guns and stuff. And then they're, like, started writing the movie, and then they got to, like, oh, how do we get to the house? Like,
Yeah, the doctor goes crazy. It throws him in the back of a cop car. Everyone's crazy.
Yeah, which that house, but the third act of this movie, I felt like I was watching Home Alone.
I don't get it.
I remember a little kid in Home Alone. He sets up all the traps.
I didn't see that film.
Oh, it's like a Christmas classic. You never saw it?
Home Alone?
Oh, you haven't even heard of it?
No.
Oh. Have you ever heard of Home Alone 2?
Yeah. Lost in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen that.
He's waited for this night. He's waited for me.
But we didn't really talk about Laurie's daughter and granddaughter. I like that the movie isn't just the Michael Myers and Laurie Strode show. Like
It's a bunch of strong females.
The fact
at the
that it's about family.
Yeah, yeah. If only they had worked on the element of that was what I found the most interesting was when they talk about like that scene, that dinner scene, like that really sold it.
Oh
me.
yeah,
that was my
awkward
favorite scene
dinner
in the whole
scene.
movie. It's like you show Laurie Strode, and she's like, I got bolts and locks, and I got a castle and lights.
Yeah.
And I was like,
she's
eh.
not like I was worried they would make her like badass gun-toting. No, she's fucking crazy and she's ruined her life.
Yes.
and the life of her daughter, which has a ripple effect on her granddaughter. And I like that generational stuff.
Yes, they're having a nice dinner, and crazy grandma shows up.
Yeah.
And she starts crying at the table, and it really makes you feel like, ooh, this is a real person with like some kind of mental illness or mental problem. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that. It's not like hokey, like Michael's coming back 40 years later, and I got shotguns. Like
that's what I was worried it would be.
In
yeah.
T2.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, yeah, she's
damaged.
She's damaged, and the doctor talking about how a traumatic event can shape someone's whole life. I thought they would explore that. But no one wants to sit there and watch them explore that.
Well, that's the
they
problem.
They want to watch a guy's head get stomped on. They want to watch Albert Einstein's head get stomped on. E equals MC splat.
The theme definitely gets muddled at the end because it's like Judy Greer as Laurie Strode's daughter is like kind of, she was taken away when she was young, and now she's saying like, no, Mom, the world's not an evil place. Like, I'm not gonna, follow your crazy advice. So she's kind of going in the polar opposite direction of her mom. And then the granddaughter is kind of right in the middle. She's sort of like young Laurie Strode. But then the whole theme of like kind of taking back your power from your trauma gets thrown out the window. And at the end, it's like, oh, crazy gun-toting grandma was right. We just need guns and we need to murder this man and set the house on fire.
There's my childhood shotgun.
Yeah.
That I painted on with sparkly marker.
Oh, I guess everything can get solved with guns. A little muddy with the themes there.
Is that on camera?
Well, I would say to wrap this up then, Jay.
Yep.
We talk about our passing of the torch, or passing of the butcher knife, which is, of course, a reference at the end of Halloween 4. Little girl is the new Michael Myers in the mask, which never develops.
No, they fucked that up
They
in
completely
5. That's a
abandoned it.
great ending. But they don't like. I don't know. They're all three characters are in the back of a truck. They're running away from the burning house. I thought we were going to get a cameo from John Carpenter there. I don't know why, but when the truck pulls up, they're like, "Can you help us?"
Oh,
I was expecting him to be driving the truck. That would have been fun.
Just smoke comes out.
It's just smoking.
The window rolls down. Just a ton of smoke comes out, and it's John Carpenter and Snoop Dogg.
No, it's Busta Rhymes.
Oh, Busta Rhymes.
They brought back Busta Rhymes.
He's got the webcam on. I'm still filming the web show.
But they're in the back of the truck, and then they're just kind of staring off into the space, and it goes down to the granddaughter holding the knife with the blood on it. But there's not really like indication that it had any effect on her. It was very
the last shot of the movie.
It was odd. It was an odd moment to end on.
There was a little moment before that when she's looking at the knife and she's making a decision. I'm going to go for this knife and I'm going to stab Michael Myers. And so it's almost like, when an animal or a dog tastes blood for the first time, then they got that instinct in them. So I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, a little muddled.
They were going to have a girl Michael Myers in the next film.
That won't happen. They'll come up with some lame excuse why Michael Myers is still alive.
He's too iconic. Well, I noticed we didn't see him burning in the bottom stairwell of the house. He was standing there for a moment, then they cut and he's gone.
They're not going to make the same mistake they made with Halloween 2. The original Halloween 2, where him and Donald Pleasance get completely obliterated, and then they both show up in the next movie, and Donald Pleasance just has like a tiny scar on his cheek. He was incinerated.
We have it on film.
We have video evidence.
He was incinerated. he turned the gas line on. Like some franchises, you just want to die.
Yeah.
And like when they have horrific failures, and then it's like, scrap it. It's like when like Christopher Reeve was always Superman,
Yeah.
He was Superman forever. And then Brandon Routh became Superman, and that flopped.
Yes.
And then scrap it.
Let's try it again.
Now Superman is Henry Cavill for a little.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get another Superman. Same with like Spider-Man. We never had a Spider-Man before. I mean, well, we did and crap stuff, but not in a real movie.
Right.
Tobey Maguire was a Spider-Man, and then there
It
was.
was successful. They did multiple films.
And it was like, yeah, and then it was Andrew Garfield, and then there was like a disaster, and then now it's a kid,
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah, and so now it's no longer
The
iconic. Like
Yeah.
you're famous for this role.
There's
You know
no
what I mean?
sort of longevity
There's no
or
longevity.
resonance. It's just like, this is the newest one.
Yeah.
In another couple of years, there'll be another new one.
After Superman 4, you better wait 25 years to start that shit up again.
Yes.
And it's like with Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man disaster, and then it's like 1 week later. I know they sold the Spider-Man rights over to Marvel or whatever, but it's like you can erase history
Yeah.
and start over like a year later now, and no one remembers.
Yeah.
It's like celebrity scandals. Remember celebrity scandals in like the 80s and 90s?
Mm-hmm.
People still think Richard Gere put a gerbil up his ass. You put a gerbil up your ass in 2018, by 2019, nobody's talking about it.
That's true.
It's kind of like, I feel like they should be punished for their failures. You need to
Sure.
wait 2 decades before starting over with the property, because I'm not going to forget anytime soon. But unfortunately, the rest of the world does. They just want to. You can have a new Spider-Man every 6 months.
Well, that's why this movie's called just Halloween. I recognize that title. I'll go see that.
Yeah.
Is it related to the Rob Zombie one? I don't know. It's called Halloween. I'll go see it. Even though the filmmakers are pretty respectful of the original 1978 film, from the like studio perspective of what the general audience is going to think, just call it Halloween. They'll go see it.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know where my emotions are coming from on this particular topic. I almost feel like a duped consumer, almost, or an unrespected consumer, even though you said they respected the original film, and they have.
You got to look at the different perspectives. Like, that's the perspective of the filmmakers. They found people that actually care about the franchise, which is good.
Yes.
But then you have like the Rob Zombie ones, which were just like, Rob Zombie's hot right now. Have him make a Halloween movie. He's completely wrong for the property, but have him do it because people like his movie.
Those are a little sleazier, but
Yeah.
I mean, we got this property. Let's revamp it. Let's make something new.
Yeah.
Make it palatable for all audiences. Great, they did a good job with that. But now we're gonna get sequels, sadly.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Would you recommend Halloween?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, for a Halloween fun time that's not terribly stupid.
Yes, it's great because it's a Halloween movie coming out in October. The last few came out in like July.
Yeah. What are you doing?
This is the perfect movie to see. It's a effective Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's a good time in the theater with the crowded.
And I have to mention the score briefly.
Oh yeah.
The John Carpenter. They I don't know how much they paid him, but he came back finally to do a score, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I like those.
A lot of new. It's not just the same main theme. Like, they use it somewhat sparingly,
Yeah, they
which
do,
was nice.
surprisingly.
There's lots of cool new atmospheric stuff, things you've never heard in a Halloween movie before. Yeah, no, I love the score is my favorite part of the movie. That was what I was more excited about than the movie, just because John Carpenter's kind of had a little revival the last few years with his music. He makes music with his kids, which is kind of great.
John Carpenter's 60-year-old children make music with him.
Well, guys, I think I finished my evaluation. Well, the VCR does look worse than it did when you guys first started. And, according to my calculations, you guys have drank at least 27,000 beers. And over the past 7 years, Mr. Plinkett has paid you about $100,000 for something you can easily buy for just $5 at a thrift store. So,
Yeah, that's true.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give you guys an official corporate reprimand.
Oh no. Oh God.
Because you guys are doing your job way too fast.
What?
That's right. Usually jobs like this take about 10 years, especially when they're old and senile, like a Mr. Plinkett. Well, what were just talking about.